As our talk today is how to write a scientific article with significant findings for scientific development. Before proceeding this topic, I also would like to explain or give some just overview of my ongoing research. Am I audible? And my slide is moving as well?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. So last 7 years, we are working on nanoparticle toxicity and try to find the possible options or remedies to remediate polluted soil. As we know that nano era started in 2000, last 2 decades ago, and the application of nanoparticle or different type of synthesis of nanoparticle with various promising properties has increased. And in the beginning, first decade, like from 2000 to 2010, it was the era of synthesizing new tiny particle with unique property. So after that, with various application, it was realized that these particles might be toxic for environment, and it can be toxic for plants as well, and it may hamper, or it can be a threat to human health as well. So we have started to understand the mechanism of these tiny particles inside the plant body and try to understand how they behave in the tissues of plant, where they exactly accumulate. And then we conducted several type of experiment, like experiment in hydroponic condition for promising results. And then we go for more detailed in the soil, and after that we realize that this particle, or up to this level, up to high concentration, it might be toxic and it disturb the anatomy, ultrastructural, cellular, subcellular physiology. And then we overcome to these toxic effect of these particles. We used various other approaches like metal tolerant bacteria, biochar, commercially available or our laboratory synthesized biochar, or foliar input of nanoparticles, and basal application of these particles. This is an ongoing work. So we found that the metal tolerant microbes and some extent of biochar is helpful to overcome the toxic effect of nanoparticle, including bulk material as well. So this is the summary of our ongoing work. So this year, it's showing the importance of our work, how rapidly we receive the citation. Even in the year 2022, I received more than 1500 citations recognized by another scientist. Also successfully published some high impacted, like 14.224 impact factor, two articles. Also some more high impact, like 10 impact factor, 2 papers, and in chemosphere like 7 papers, and environmental, Journal of Environmental Management and Environmental Research. Same time in year 2022, we have received 2 prestigious grants like BRICS and MEGA grant, and our work also recognized by several Russian TV channels and social media, also by our university. So at the same time, we are successfully formulated our effective collaboration with India. In India, we are working with BHU, JNU, also AMU, Aligarh Muslim University, and a lot of another university. We have good collaboration with China, United Nations, Brazil, even Egypt, France, and Germany, and Portugal as well. So this was the overview of our ongoing research and output. So now we will proceed with our today's topic. So the before I'm sure that this topic, how to write a scientific article with significant findings for scientific development, is going to be interesting and fruitful for our young researcher. So the main question comes to our mind or our young researchers' mind, why we need to publish, why we need to put the effort to publish in high impact journal, what is need, why we don't publish it in newspaper or somewhere else on pedatory journal to just throw out our research. So this always come in our mind. So now I am going to tell why we need such a high quality journals. Actually, publishing is allowed to circulate your work, to share your work with the scientific community, to know them that what you are doing. And also, if you are going to target a good journal, it pass through a various review process. The reviewer is an expert in your field, so those who have accredited or validated your work. So it means if your work have any flaw, any issues, they are going to tell you to make it more quality, more trustable, more reproducible. So it is necessary to target a good journal, to share your work with the wide circulation, with the scientific community, as well as to the common people, to let them aware about your new finding. It will help you to get positions in university. It will also help you to get recognition, and it is necessary to have a good publication to receive grants. And also, like I told you about my citations in 2022, so it also help you to another scientist recognize your work and cite your work in their publication. Somehow it will also help you to get as an invitation, like I received from you, like invited speaker in prestigious conference, somehow ex honorarium as well. So to get the boost or have a good career prospect in academy, in scientific community, it is necessary to publish. It also depend on the scientist. There are some of my colleagues, they have good infrastructure, but they are not much interested in publishing. So somehow it depend on the individual or scientist also. But undoubtedly, the publishing your work will give you the recognition, self motivation, because when you successfully published your work in high rated journal, and then you receive the rewards, you get energy to do more scientific work, to publish in good journal. So before telling exactly how to write scientific paper, we need to know the type of scientific papers. This is very interesting for early career researchers or young scientists to know that which type of papers we can publish. So main paper where we combine our research is a original manuscript. But sometime when we have quick results and we want to publish it without compiling whole work, it can be published as a short communication. So here I also explain you the examples, like this is a short communication because they have some results and they want to publish, and this one is an original research paper. Here is a review research paper, and this is a conference paper. Here you can see, and sometime not all journal but some journals they asking to publish a perspective and viewpoint, commentary, and also survey. Like here you can see this paper title based on like a case study of tube in Russia. So these are several type of articles which have different type of objective and different type of even formatting and the length of article. Like conference proceedings, sometimes the conference proceeding is indexed in reputed database. I will explain you in the next slide what is the reputed databases. And also sometimes book review, case study, and most commonly scientists publish like original research paper and review article. Review article can be also like critical review, narrative, bibliometric, comprehensive. We will go in detail in further slides. So now it's maybe clear that how many types of scientific publication is there. So there are two main types of research paper or scientific publication, that is research paper and review paper. What is the organization? What it contain? So in research paper, the general organization of research paper is it have title, the list of author, and then it go for abstract and introduction, methods, material and methods, result and discussion. It can be separate results, it can be together as well, and discussion and conclusion, and literature. Literature means the support, the support for your findings. So this is a general organization of research paper. And similarly, review paper do not have any fixed outline like a research paper, that you have abstract, introduction, material and methods, this results and discussion, conclusion, and literature cited. But here is not a similar, but it can depend on the title which you selected. So outline the scope of topic, the topic which you selected. By that you can frame the sections. Of course, each article have introduction, each article have conclusion, but the center part can be different. Like here, this is my own paper, like nano biochar, a novel solution for sustainable agriculture and environmental remediation. This is a title for review paper. Here I formulated these headings. So this is completely depend on your thorough search, thorough investigation in the literature, that what you need to gonna add in particular review paper. So mostly this review paper is the evaluation or critical evaluation of literature in a particular, on a particular topic. So this is the most difficult part for early career researcher, those who is a student or just have a completed research, to compile first their scientific draft. They don't know, or they are facing issues how to combine this whole study which they conducted in laboratory, how they need to organize, and even how they need to organize in better way. So the main thing, once you are doing your work, you have to compile roughly. You have to collect all the facts during study, during investigation, during research, and write down on your notebook or on computer. And after that, you need to search the literature, what you found in your research. You need to connect with the literature. So you have to work. But firstly, in my opinion, you have to just fill the all structures which given here in the research paper, like abstract, introduction, material and methods, result and discussion, and literature. You supposed to fill all this information as a first draft. It doesn't matter either in the beginning how big your draft is and how rough your draft is, how it may be a lot of flaws, a lot of language issues, a lot of sentences problem, but first you need to compile all these information section wise and then evaluate. This is the term, like good writing is rewriting. So first draft might need a lot of edits, several edits. So first time when you compile, it might be very big draft, like 15,000 words, maybe 20,000 words. Then go for all sections, read one by one again and again, and then think what excess you have to delete. Then try to cut. Then the second draft, again you need to read at least 2 times. And the main strategies you need to follow, once you prepared your first draft, try to put it away for one day, and then again come in a fresh mode and read whole draft. But it's completely depend on your research as well. You have not miss any step once you are doing your research. So include everything and then try to exclude what is not much necessary, what you want to show your or readers. So it should be concise. So several edits make your draft perfect. In one day, second day, third day, fourth edit, fifth edit. So a lot of edits. You can take your help. Like here, check again and again. Then finalize. After that, you need to send this paper to your seniors, maybe your colleague, your supervisor, and then again try to check the facts, and then your draft will be ready. So this is the beginning, but you have to be careful before writing, because I will give you the detailed study, detailed information about whole paper in the in next slide. But here you need to be careful. For what? Once you are preparing your draft, you need to keep something in your mind that you are going to write your paper for scientific community. So everything, either a language or your facts or your results, all must be cross-checked several times. You need it must be correct. So what you need to do, a lot of scientists, or in the paper I have seen once I was reviewing the manuscript, this is first they make problem using correct units. It have format, either you use this or this unit, not both together. I mean, the some framework which already exist in the science, you have to learn how to use the facts which already exist. Like here, abbreviations, generals have their own abbreviation. When researcher using this, they sometimes format abbreviation by themselves. Like I can say this, like Russian Journal of Genetics. So here RUSS and then .j and genet. This is a standard abbreviation for them, but sometimes they form like Russian J genetics. So do not fabricate by yourself, do not formulate by yourself. Similarly, for acronyms or synonyms, they are already exist, they are already well defined. So before writing, it needed to learn exactly what is stand. Also, in some papers, the scientists use a lot of etc, but, can, could. In scientific publication, these words are, it means you are referring like etc, etc, etc. You completed one fact like nanotechnology is useful for agriculture, etc, etc. After that, you use DTC, what you want to justify after application in agriculture, it application in medical, what. So excess use of these words in your scientific papers should be avoided. Also, but, can, could, it must be avoided. Also, avoid superfluous information or exaggerate facts like nanoparticle is boon for agriculture. I mean, here you are exaggerating. Boon, I mean the terms which you need to avoid. You have small findings, but you are representing that it can solve problem of all agriculture. So these are the exaggeration of the facts or superfluous words must be avoided from your scientific publication. Also, before starting, you need to learn that do not start your sentences from numerical value. A lot of scientists, they are doing, I have seen in the papers, like 0.1 mg alcohol or NaCl is good for blah blah blah. So here they started like 0.1. I mean, the sentences should not be started by numerical values. Also should not started by abbreviations, should not started by symbols in case. Avoid reading and citing predatory journals information. Predatory journals, no definition, no defense. Because the predatory journal information might not peer reviewed. And you are reading, like they have some facts, and that is not peer reviewed. And you take these facts and added you in your paper, in your scientific manuscript. So, and you cited that paper. So here you are spoiling, because the information which you obtained, it might not justified, might not correct. So try to avoid predatory journals. There are lists available on the Google, or all university have this list. So do not read, it's my recommendation, but you can read. Also, in whole paper, be consistent. Sometime scientists in first line, like they use potato, and next time they use Oryza sativa, and third time they use carrot, and next time they use jammes. So this is inconsistent. If you want to use, you are a plant scientist, if you want to use botanical name, use everywhere. If you want both, be consistent, not in some line this, some line that. Similarly for legend and figures, also the same. It should stand similar. And do not capitalize in terms unnecessary. In the manuscript, a lot of scientists doing this. Unnecessary, like the application of nanotechnology. They think nano is very important word for them, and they capitalize or they bold it. So try to not spoil your manuscript. So these are some suggestions for you. Now we are going for main document, so-called research paper. So each research paper, as I explained, they have introduction. In introduction, what is known, what is the gap, what are you going to fill? These information should be included. It's not only biological science. It is applicable for every science or every discipline where scientific manuscript is required. So in introduction, it should be, I mean, first paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph, fourth paragraph. So these paragraphs should represent individual information, and overall your introduction should address the issues like what is known, what is the gap, what are you going to fill, this information. In material method, you have to know, you have to address, you have to keep in mind that you are going to address that what did you do. So this information must be in your material method. Then discussion, how do the results bridge the gap, your findings, your experimental outcome, how it help, or what is the new. These answers must be in your discussion part. Similarly for conclusion, like what does this mean for us going forward, also a future perspective. So now we starting from the title of scientific article, like manuscript titles. There are several type of titles, but here I just indicated 4 types of titles. Somehow these are using, but of course many more also using in scientific publications. So indicative titles. These titles gives the purpose of study, like here, toxicity of copper oxide nanoparticle on spring barley. What is the purpose? I mean, you are going to observe toxicity. So this is the indicative title. Another title like informative title. Here title already have some information, like novel statistical apportioning method. I mean, it is clear in this paper author developed some new title. Question type title, like can nanotechnological approaches improve the soil health and crop productivity? So this is, you raise question and then you going to be justified. It can be a research paper, it can be review. I mean, the title for both applicable. And some titles is a series type title. Like one part they finished in this paper, and next it will go for another paper. So this called series type. But most probably scientists using indicative titles, and it is very important the title represent whole your findings. Either you make quite simple title like toxicity of copper oxide nanoparticle on spring barley. Here you do not know that what author exactly did, which type of parameters they have included in your objective to observe toxicity. But in the same time, you can do like toxic effect of nanoparticle on physiology, morphology, molecular biology of spring barley. Here it is clear that the author did experiment on physiology, morphology, and molecular biology. So that's why before deciding, you need to think more that how you can represent your whole objective which you performed in research paper in title, because title is the first things which anybody read quickly. Also, before you decide which is the best or which type of title is best, you need to look the general where you are going to publish, which type of titles they are publishing. And also first you type your rough title and then search on Google how many article titles are available similar to your work. Then you manufacture, you frame new one. So writing abstract, of course, don't forget to add after title, you need to add list of authors, the authors which already included in your work or which you want to include. After that, the address of corresponding author. And then next section is like abstract. So abstract is similar to releasing a trailer of any movie. If trailer is impressive, the people will read your whole paper. If trailer is not so impressive and didn't give something to readers, they will quickly ignore your paper and you will deprived of receiving citations or receiving recognition. Because the main purpose of doing research is not only keeping inside the laboratory. You are doing research to improve the societal issues, to share with the peoples, to get recognition for your university, for your laboratory, for your own self. So abstract should be very concise, clear, and it must represent whole paper. So it have limit, like some journals, they need 150 words. Some journals need 250, some 300 maximum. So in this 100 to 300 words, you need to represent whole your work in an interesting way so the editor or readers quickly understand your work and quickly get what you did. So first thing, first 1-2 line, not randomly start that in current research we found that nanoparticle is toxic for plants and dose of 150 mg per liter of zinc oxide damage all the plant tissues. This is a random. You need to make a story. Like in the beginning, you had to give some interesting fact like nanotechnology is booming field and it is new approach, and then find the gap that conventional issues didn't solve the problem. That's why we develop and that's why we perform this study in laboratory condition or field condition, and then we receive such type of findings, and these findings are useful for further research. These findings can be applicable in field condition. And what next to do? So this whole must be a story. So state principle, objective and scope of investigation. Describe your methodology which you employed, but not in detail. You need to just give us summarize methodological information, summarize the results. Sometime scientists using like if I give the example that particular dose of heavy metal or particular concentration of heavy metal damaged plant tissues, reduce the physiology, hamper the photosynthesis, this all. But where is the justification in this sentence? So always write a generalized sentence and they then give the justification, how much it damaged, what your results, what is your promoting facts. So the support with the your experimental finding also, not just summary, because it's abstract. Summary is another part. So in abstract, there are three things you need to include, like why did you study it? It means a global importance or importance of work. How did you study it? This is a methodological, short methodology. And what did you find and what does it mean? It means what you found, it is have any realistic application. So these all fact must be added and must be clear, as well as future perspective of your work. Second, some things you need to know. Like, do not include unnecessary abbreviations in your abstract, or do not use citations until unless it is very necessary, because in some papers, some methodological papers, it is required. But do not try to add citations to give the justification with the literature. So let's move forward. Just so the next part, but still after abstract, do not forget to include keywords. A lot of scientists making mistake to writing keywords. Even the journal have very clear guidelines to add keywords, but still a lot of scientists, I mean, I think 70% papers I have reviewed, they have the same terminology or terms which already used in title. The keywords must be different than the words which already used in title. Why? Because when your paper come in a domain on internet or any general website, you how other scientists will search, they will search like by using keywords or titles, some parts. So your paper must get more browse, I mean quick search, it should be searchable. So that's why you need to use different keywords than the words which already used in introduction. Not the same terms. If same terms, it means you are gonna lose your chance to have more browsable your paper. So next part is introduction. This is a main body of your work. What do we already know? I already said. Why does it matter, and what gap in our knowledge does this fill, and what do I want to find out? Here you see on my slide, these facts you must consider in your introduction. The thing is, especially for very young researcher, there are problems for them because they try to read a lot of papers, but still they cannot, I mean, exactly decide what they need to put in different sections. So what you need to do in the beginning, you can make sections in introduction. You can write subtitles, or you just go for paragraph, one paragraph, 2, 3, 4, 5, and try to address these facts. Like the first paragraph must be where you are showing the importance, global importance or regional importance of your work. Like here in this paragraph, the global importance of your work. And then in the second paragraph, if you are plant scientist and you consider, for example, nanoparticle, then give why particular nanoparticle you are gonna use. So here in the second paragraph, you are giving the importance of present object. And if you have more like some varieties or some plants, then you also need to explain why particular plant. If you use some concentration, why particular concentration? And then you discuss with the literature these facts. But if you exactly find the similar research in the literature, then you cannot find what gap you are going to fill. So that's why the thorough review literature is very important to formulate your good introduction. And then the last paragraph, you try to conclude that what you are going to do, and because of this reason you are going to do this. So this information must be in your introduction section, like global importance of your study, present, importance of your object or your plants or whatever you are going to test, and connect with the literature and find in the literature what they didn't did or they did in different way. And that's why your work is quite important, and therefore you formulated these objectives. I have observed during review of another scientist, even my own, some people writing very big introduction like 6 pages. It is not obvious. I have seen this 5 pages, 3 pages. It have a standard. And even some people like 100 words, 200, 300 words, and they think it's enough. It have a standard. If you read good journals paper, they have well elaborated introduction, but not more than 1000 words. So it should be between 6 to 1000. This is not written anywhere in the general guidelines. But as you are making a building, and each rooms or each floors of your building must be appropriate. So this make balance, because research paper usually have 7000 words to 9000 words, sometimes 6000 as well, but not 3000. 3000, yes, you can write with 3000 words. Even in your Pune, there are some publishers, I will not take the name because they are very good friend of mine also, but they can in evening you will send your paper with 300 words of your introduction, or 3000 words of your paper. In morning they can publish without peer review. You need to pay some money. So I suppose not recommend such type of publications. Must focus on internationally recognized journals. Those have good indexing. I will explain what is indexing in the next slide. In material and methods, young researchers, do remember that material and method information in paper, in scientific publication, is completely different than the including in the thesis. In thesis, you need to elaborate each and everything. Like here, I put all the basins, bottles, this and this. It is not needed in paper. In paper, you have to only present concise information, but important. For example, you are going to use some specific instrument, and this a lot of your results depend on particular instruments, then you need to give the model number of instruments. But for example, you are doing a plant experiment and you have a hazara, you don't need to give where you bought the hazara. So I mean, you need to understand, you need to know what is the important. And for example, some softwares you used, you have to give the version of software. So these things are important, but not all glasswares you bought from Borosil and in chemicals you use for high media. It's not needed. You can write a standard grade. So what should be in materials and method? So here I also make some key point for you, like what sort of study I am doing, where and when does the study take place. I mean the place where you perform this study. If it is an ecological study, you have to give the location. If it is laboratory study, you have to mention. If it is a field study, you have to mention the conditions. If you grow plant in outside in open place, you have to give the all the factors like what is the moisture, temperature, yes, precipitation. And if laboratory, then what is the standard condition of your lab where you grow everything. How do I make sense of these data and results? This is very important. So here again I explaining questions should be addressed of this. And during the experiment, if you have any new methods or protocol which you applied in your experiment, you have to explain. Until unless if it is not widely recognized, you need to give detail. And of course, do not either it is published, then you use, or if it is only your lab made protocol, you need to give the justification. So in material and methods also, there are strategies which you need to plan, like introduction, that you mix paragraphs 1, 2, 3 and connect all these paragraphs together and finding what you are going to do and why. And here, first, you also may need to make a section, like 1 section, 2 section, 3 section, 4, 5, 6, how much is depend on your experiment. So these sections, you can make a tentative subsection title, like experimental setup, what you did. So here you explain how you make experiment, how many types of replication you used, what type of material you used, what chemicals you used, and then sampling or plant growth promotion. I mean, whatever, it's depend on your own experiment, what methodology used. You need to give the citations. So all these sections when you make, and of course, try to remember in the beginning, I said that first draft need time. So first time you make a lot of sections and then revise, 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 revise. If you take it very seriously, just like a do and die, then definitely your draft will be very clear, concise. At the same time, I want to say there are terminology. When you will read a lot of literature, you will find some long sentence can be presented in one terminology, one term. So try to understand this type of scientific writing. Now the next section, results. Of course, entire paper stand on the result section. If your results is weak, your rest paper will be also weak. But it not matter that every time you have very novel scientific finding and only then you will be able to publish in good journal. Even sometimes have good findings, good results, and because of bad writing, your paper will get rejection, rejection, rejection from many places, many good journals. The time now different. You have to cook, you have to present your results in very impressive way, not just put on a Excel and make a pillars and submit in journal of hazardous material. It's not interesting. There are many statistical tools. By that, you need to analyze, you need to put these tools so the readers can understand, can see the clarity of your results, importance of your results, and most important, your results must be statically fit, statically analyzed. So what you need to do in results section, use figures. Again, here I am emphasizing make subsections. What sections? Which you already make in material and methods, that I observe this. After that, I observe this. So similarly, now where you observe that here you need to present. I mean here outcome, their investment. So here also you can. The investment is number A and here outcome of number A. So use figures, tables to summarize results, but not the same results in table and same result in figure. You will wonder that a lot of research paper I have seen the similar presentation. I mean they use table for the same data and they make figure for the same. So this should not be. Try to understand the journal or each editor have limited space and time. So you have to be very careful to not repeat the same thing again and again. Same thing in figure, same thing in table. Shouldn't be. And even the worst experience, the same results they presented as a pillar form and then tabular form and then explain in the text from all parameters that it this, all. This completely need to be avoided. In text, you present your significant findings and refer with the table or figures. Both should be different. Be sure that the text, figures and tables are consistent with another. It shouldn't be, random inclusion. Random inclusion can increase the chances for rejection. Emphasize only important observations, because during the experiment you have lots of data. You need to focus what is the key points, what is the key results which you observed. Some results which you think it is necessary but it cannot be included in your result sections, you can refer as a supplementary results. Do not try to include discussion in introduction in results or introduction. Like, of course it is common, that's why I am explaining. I will give you just one sentence related to my work. Like, nanotechnology is useful for agriculture, blah blah blah, and it also giving a promising results for remediation purpose. Added in abstract first line, introduction first line, and then it also added in material in results, and then it started, and therefore we found these results. It's not needed everywhere to emphasize one fact. So do not include the information which already added in introduction or discussion, especially in your results. If general ask you this separate result section, then only give results, not needed to explain what results is this. So do not repeat. Similarly, do not repeat methodological words in your results. Repeat also legends or figure titles, sometimes it seems. So try to avoid. And of course, figures and table legends. Legends means captions, the title which you use for table and figures. It should be also very clear. The time which you spend to formulate your title of paper say the similar time you need to invest to write good title of your table and good title of your figures. If you have comparative results, for example, if you take 2, 3, 4, 5 variants where you are going to compare, then you need to present these comparative results in a folds, in a percentage, in a times to make it more impressive. Because impressive graphs and figures can make happy to editorial board, to readers, to attract. So a lot of softwares you have to use, and also use balanced color. Sometimes people preparing a graphics too much bright colors like red, too much. I mean, you need to see, for example, you see the figure here, quite impressive. The authors, of course, is our paper, presented different type of heavy metals. And this is a graphics, you see. If it is too red, it might not so interesting. Here you see various type of representation. This is all published in good journals. So the general demand or general want good figures, well analyzed figures, well analyzed results with statistical justification, good representation. So the chances for rejection will decrease. Use updated software to analyze results and prepare graphics. So here also I mentioned that table figures caption must be clear, concise, stand with full meaning. Do not add abbreviation and do not make it too big. Sometimes author make figure or table captions very big, like one paragraph. I think it's not needed. If you have a lot of abbreviation, you can make separate section for abbreviation, but not like one paragraph is a title of table or title of figure. So these are the reasons where your paper become big. Now the discussion. Now you have results, what mean and why they are important. These are the questions which you need to justify in discussion section. So relationship among observed facts. I can say a very interesting story. The facts which you found, again I will give the example, that 150 mg zinc oxide nanoparticle hampered SOD POD of barley plants. Similar results were observed by Rajput et al. 2019. Similar results were obtained by 2020. This is obvious. Completely not good. What other author did? You do not need to write in this way. The similar he did. What he did? Not mentioned. So what you did, you have to compare with other researchers which already exist in scientific community. And sometimes people writing, for example, in one line they write Rajput et al. did this. Then again next line Rajput et al. did this. Then again write next line. I mean each one paper he read or she or he takes some fact, added that line in this in own paper, and again the next Rajput did this, Rajput did this, Rajput did it. This is not a way. You have to summarize all these papers and find one line or 2 line, 3 line which connected with each other and connected with your own study also. Then cite all these references in the bracket. Not from this line this did this, again the next line this. Sometimes people writing whole introduction in this way. They take 20 papers, one paper from this author, and they said, no, for example, Minkin et al. Did this, next Rajput et al. Did this, and another author did this. This is a common phenomena, and young scientists should avoid it. Read all 2, 3, 4, 5 papers, and then summarize all these papers' results, and then cite in the bracket. But of course, if you are going to present some specific information from particular paper, then you can refer in this way, like Rajput did this. Keep your language simple, direct as much as possible. Do not write sentences like 10 lines, one sentence, 5 lines, 2 lines, 3 lines. Small sentences, and then connect with each other. One sentence saying this, and very quickly another sentence go for another things which is not connected with each other. This will make your paper weak. So try to avoid using random information. Also, do not use more than 3 references for one well-known facts. Sometime I have seen that you wrote like chlorophyll, photosynthesis is blah blah blah, and 10 references you added. It's not needed. 1, 2, 3 maximum. If it is very well-known fact, you do not even need. But if it is, you are giving some justification, or maximum 3. Now we reach to the conclusion of the paper. Conclusion should be concise and clear. Sometime also I observed big size of conclusion with the headings, 1 heading, 2 heading, 3 headings. It's not needed. Conclusion should be concise. It should contain future perspective. It shouldn't have any references, only significant outcome. 10, 20 variant you have used, which results you found interesting, only those you need to include here. And what further needed to do, what is your recommendation? This supposed to be included, not so big. It must be avoided. Not like 2 pages, 1 page. It have a standard, sorry. So it should be clear, concise, and included future perspective. So after this section, you need to add acknowledgement. A source of funding, where you receive, anyone who has helped you with your study, anyone who helped with writing English or offered critical comments, you don't want to include him or her in a paper. So you need to acknowledge them. So these are. So now references. Nowadays, because we have very limited time, it's not like we are living in a 50 or 60 years ago that we will do manually everything and one paper in 1 year. The time has passed. Now everything is fast. We have support. We have artificial intelligence. We have softwares. We have all material available. We are not ordering like one journal we ordered, it will come from Germany after 3 months or 6 months. Now everything available on internet. So it's not obvious to use modern tools and techniques. Reference is usually taking long time and more chances for missing information, especially when you are going to include 1, 2, 3 numberings in your paper. There are chances that you can misplace reference. So use software. For example, this information in some particular information in your paper connected with blah blah references, and you make mistake and reference change. So it can ruin whole your paper, because you are referring this information to this reference, but in the list that reference not at that place, or maybe somewhere else. So that's why, first of all, do not try to formulate abbreviation of references by yourself. So use reference management programs like EndNote, Mendelin. There are so many. I'm not here highlighting anyone. You can search on internet. There are tools which can manage your reference. Try to avoid the mistakes. And another problem nowadays is growing, and it can be a problem for scientists as well. Self-citation. It is my practical, I mean, it's my experience. I have seen when I was reviewing some paper, total 33 references in one paper and 17 references from one author, the corresponding author or author from the paper. So this is a self-citation. You can cite some papers because you are doing a research, and then first part you have published, and second you are going, and third because you have base, you have ground. So of course there is need to cite your own paper as well, but not half of references must be yours. It's not good. You can be in a problem. So try to make balance. Not all your own publication need to be included in your paper. So give the chance for read another scientist paper also. A lot of our young researcher making problem once they are submitting cover letter. Of course, this is my own cover letter. I am not, I mean, professional to writing a language, but here what you need to address in cover letter. First, address editor, where you are going to submit, which type of manuscript is, what is the title, list of authors, and then give one summary here that this paper also why the findings are interesting. Some lines, not whole abstract. I have seen this whole abstract or summary author put in a cover letter that my paper is very interesting for this journal and very fit within the scope. Do not exaggerate, otherwise it can give negative impact. Some lines, some key lines you did, you know what is new, so add here. Also ethical values, that you did not include any human, yes, and so this all the standard. And then your corresponding author detail. This is a good reference. So because you are addressing to the editorial board, do not address, I mean, a lot of time I have seen some obvious starting respected professor, respected blah blah blah, a lot of, you are going to address, just address to the editor blah blah general. Not too much greetings, also not needed. A lot of time respected editors, then again after manuscript respected editors, again when closing the last respected editor, we are looking forward to hearing from you to accept or throw out my manuscript for review process. It's not needed. Be professional. This is very necessary to keep in mind that before submission you have to make a list what you are going to submit and what you are need to submission, because when you will enter in the submission system of any journal, you will see that there is need cover letter, there is need title page, there is need author credit form, but you have not, there is need emails of all the authors. So you need to prepare everything in the advance. Check, cross-check the formatting as per general guidelines, check grammar, typos. There are softwares, by that you can check, because those who are going to read, they don't have, they can find this problem, and this is it can be a reason for rejection. Facts and details, the values, the finding values which you presented in table must be similar in the abstract, must be similar in the tabular form. In abstract you wrote the accumulation of nanoparticle in plant included 10 times, and in figure you are showing 11 times, and in table it's like a 10.5. So the facts should be the similar everywhere. So cross check all the facts to avoid the mistake. Graphics, tables and figures. Several times author forget to cite figures inside the text. They use figure, but they forget to write where the figure must be. So not forget to add figure and table number in the tags. List of authors and author details, conflict of interest. So all must be prepared before submission. And once you submitted your paper go for technical check, quality check. If it pass, if editorial staff, they are not scientists, they are checking they are technical staff, they are checking either you have all the sections, you added the ethical parts, then if everything is okay, they will send it to the editor. And if editor very happy to see your paper, he will send it out for review. Review can be peer reviewed, blind, I mean blind, single blind, double blind, you may heard these terms. In some cases, they remove the author's name and send to the reviewer. So it is reviewer do not know whose paper is this. And of course, author do not know who reviewed. So this is the general process. Also, author making problem once they receive comments. For example, when you receive comments and you address the questions, reviewer questions, but you didn't show what you changed. You are thinking that reviewer will find out by himself. Why so? Why you don't want to highlight? That's why I indicated here two types of manuscript. This is the manuscript where you can find, where you can see the changes, and this is a clean version for editorial process. So always make two versions of your file if general allow. If not, if they allow only submitting one file, then make color in this file that this line you have changed. Most interesting fact that reviewer taking lots of time to evaluate your manuscript. He investing a lot of time to evaluate your manuscript from the title to the references, and they write one by one. For example, title is not interesting, some words must be corrected, and then in abstract they found some issues, they indicating even line number that here is the problem. In introduction they found some issues. In figures they indicating. So they make report, 1 page report, 2 page, sometimes 3 page, 4 page. And when it comes to make response letter, what many authors doing? We did. The first line, first question is very big, but response, I did, we did, corrected, added. This should be avoided. If reviewer investing a lot of time to evaluate critically, carefully your manuscript line by line, then you need to respond also in the similar way. That okay, I did in particular line number and the changes have been considered, blah blah blah, line number. So once you receive acceptance letter of your publication, you feel quite happy, like this scientist. And similarly, if you receive rejection letter, especially in the beginning, early career researcher, and you feel stress, it shouldn't be. It's a process. It means there are some issues with your paper, or you didn't submit in right journal. But sometimes journal saying that your paper is quite big and that's why we cannot consider it. Then you have chance, you can reduce and resubmit. But if they add some comments and said that based on these comments your paper is rejecting or rejected, so try to address. A lot of scientists doing here mistake. They receive comments from this journal and they do not want to address. They randomly submit it to another one. So the problem still exists. So try to address. If you get rejection letter with some comments, first try to address those comments and then make plan B to find more suitable journal. There are softwares or there are internet you can find how to find suitable journals for your publication, for your paper. So there they are asking title, abstract. When you put title and abstract, they will tell you these journals are suitable for your publication. Then you submit. Little bit about how to write an effective review paper. The review paper can be full length review and mini review. If you are very young and not have much, but you want, I think you should try mini review. And a lot of time, review is what? Review is a critical evaluation of the data already available. Means the results which already available, you are just going to evaluate and giving a new perspective. It's not only collect, I told in the last slide that collect Rajput et al. 19, Rajput et al. 20, Rajput et al. 21, Rajput et al. 23 and combine all this information. No. You should read carefully and formulate and find some new things to suggest scientific community to formulate a review paper. So identify gap in existing studies for potential future perspective research. Explain the current state of knowledge. Highlight the main methodology and research technique which you applied. Maybe you search from Google, bibliometric reviews, or you take 10-year evaluation. So this all needed to provide. So very important for young researchers. So actually this is for those who knew how to read. Actually, sometimes printed paper or published paper is like 8 pages to 20 pages of PDF. And it is very difficult for young people, those who master student, PhD student, what to read exactly. Or sometimes for us also, if you are going for new discipline or new area, it is difficult exactly to get information from paper. So I think some questions should be in your mind before reading scientific papers, like what you are trying to find. Then try to go for abstract, conclusion, introduction. If these information matching with your specialization, with your work, then you go for reading introduction, material and methods, and go for detail in discussion. Otherwise, you will read whole paper, spend 3 to 4 hours, and you found it's not interesting for your work because a lot of information available on internet. So it is necessary to make planning. It is not similar with newspaper, magazine, or science blog. And also use softwares, I recommend, because in software you can highlight what you read today, and then next time if it is interesting you can continue to reading. So how to write a thorough review report in case if journal send some paper to review, some another's paper came to you to review, then what you need to do? Actually, do not just write when you are preparing a review report, even without reading. I have seen this type of comments even on my own paper. The title is not completed, introduction is not enough, material method is not clear, tables need to be changed, it's a low resolution, discussion need to modify, it's a big, conclusion should be rewritten. Can you imagine? This type of comments also I received on my paper sometime. It's from scientists. But here, I think this can be made even within 10 minutes without reading. It's nothing. When you receive paper, if it is within your scope, only then accept to review. Because it takes at least 3 to 4 hours to review, good review. You need to make good review comments, and it will take at least 2 to 4 hours. For me even. Sometimes when I accept for review, I read quickly first day, and then next time I try to make comments, because first time when you read at a glance, I mean, and then the information coming in your mind and it generates some queries, and next time you go in a detail to make comments, and it worth. But not only common questions. If paper doesn't meet your expertise, reject, return, write to editorial that I am not fit for this, I will not review, or you don't have time. Because your review comments is very necessary for the paper rejection or acceptance. So that's why try to not in hurry to make comments, accept or minor revision, major revision, reject. Especially if you see the paper is from student or early career, then try to be more polite even when you are rejecting. I seen the some peoples, they have very critical mind. They always finding the negativity. Always not only search reason for rejection. Reason for acceptance also necessary. You can give your comments. The particular sections are not well written or the facts are not good or whatever you found. But not give the chance if it is acceptable. If it is really not good, you should reject. This is a concerning issue nowadays, so-called plagiarism similarity. And a lot of paper retracted. What is a retraction? Like this. You published your paper, but paper will be already in domain. It will be on website of journal. It will be everywhere where you can search it. But it have this line. I didn't put it by myself. It is already exist on this paper. This is I assume this is like a black spot of, it's a red, but it's a black spot of scientific career or scientist. It is happening. A lot of examples, a lot of papers rejected based on the similarity, based on the plagiarism, stealing data like this man is stealing idea, results. So being an early career researcher, young scientist, you need to believe in fair publication. It is common when you are reading another's paper and you are taking some material to writing your own paper, there are chances there can be a similarity. I have very big collaboration. A lot of scientists from many countries, they connected with me. Sometimes they're writing me by email or on WhatsApp and sending their paper. Please help me, or please help me to publish blah, blah, blah. And many times, you can't imagine or can't believe, I find fabricated results. Some results they have already published and some units they changed. They know very well that they did this fabrication, but they want support and they won't publish it. I don't know for what, but it is necessary to not be in hurry in publication, not be in quick to become a professor or receive a big grant. Try to be very careful, because if this happen, it will definitely ruin your reputation. It can ban on your future contribution to the journals, loss of your positions, loss of respect in scientific community. So how it can be avoided? No, first, from your brain, nobody can remove. If you want to fabricate, you did little research and you want to change by yourself your own cooked research without doing, this is not going to be removed by anyone. But if you read another paper's material, I mean the language, it can. You can remove, you can edit again and again, the language will change. But of course, you shouldn't be steal the facts. The facts which you added in your paper must be cited properly. Do not forget to cite. Copy and paste material directly into your paper without summarizing. This is the problem. So paraphrasing, quoting is necessary. Just try to present your own idea. Even you are going to write your review paper, then read several papers, take an idea present in your word, cite those papers where you take this idea. This is necessary. This is the ethical. Another variant which you need to know is called preprint. This is just like releasing a movie on OTT over the internet. Yes, because this preprint personally I don't like, because when you submit, nowadays this is common. When you are submitting your paper, the general will ask, do you want to put your paper as a preprint? Here is the option. You can, no, I don't want to share my research early as openly as preprint. If you want, you can share so other people can see your research, your paper, and they can read. They can cite even. So this is the preprint. It depends on the scientist who want, but personally I recommend not put your paper as a preprint. Sometimes it make problem. What? Because if your paper is as a preprint and unfortunately it rejected from particular journal, and when you are going to submit in another, you need to write editorial blah 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 that my paper is as a preprint, that's why there are similarity, there are plagiarism, because it, when the editorial board check your paper, they will find. So it's dependent. This is a new trend, open access. Most of the journal now going to be open access. It's a scientific business. I have no comment on this, but it's totally depend about money here. If you pay, you will publish. So the open access, there are several 1 to 4 type of open access. There can be more also, like gold open access. It need gold. Yes, you need to pay gold, and you document that are in general which only publish open access. There are some journals, it's big business, they only publish open access. Means you will pay money, your paper permanently will be on website, freely available to everyone. Hybrid open access, the documents that are in general which provide authors the choice, either you publish open access if you have money, if you don't have, you can publish as a subscription based. Here you do not need to pay, but when somebody want to read your paper, they have to pay, either their organization or the individual. Bronze, published version of record or manuscript accepted for publication, the publisher chosen. It is publisher choice. Maybe your paper is very impressive and it attract lots of scientific researchers, and then publisher is agreed to put it temporary or permanently open access, freely available. Green, published version or manuscript accepted for publication, available as a repository. So this you need to learn also in more detail when you will publish more and more paper. And these are the databases like scientific publication index. Once you are going to publish your paper in any journal, you need to check. You need to see the indexing. Each journal website have indexing. Just near the about journal, where you go, you will see the indexing. You need to check where the journal is indexed, because a lot of predatory journals mean the journals which not have any indexing. It's like a business and not index, not open for people, no peer review. It's like a junk. So you need to check where these journals are indexed. Index in Scopus, Web of Science, these are the reputed databases where the journal must be indexed. So you need to check. So finally, thank you so much for your kind attention and listening me. I also make a book about this whole content which I discuss even in more detail. It is available. It's very cheap book, very low price, like 199, even the less than the one coffee. So if it is accessible for you, you can buy and read more my ideas about scientific publication. And also you can connect with me by social media. Here I try to give summary of my old scientific publication in local language. So stay connected. Thank you very much.